Welcome, welcome to Fearless with Jason Whitlock. I am Jason Whitlock, your host. Happy Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining me. We have an awesome show planned for you today. We're going to, as only we do here on this Fearless show, I'm going to connect Angel Reese. I'm going to connect to the riots in Los Angeles. I'm going to do it. I'm going to explain to you how the riots in Los Angeles, did I say St. Louis? For some reason, I got St. Louis stuck in my head. Did I say the riots in Los Angeles? I'm going to connect to Angel Reese. Well, you remember when Kobe Bryant criticized me once, said, that's a Bikram Yogam stretch. He said that. I was asking him a series of questions or whatever. This isn't a stretch. I'm going to explain to you today the connection between Angel Reese and the BET Awards last night and the riots in Los Angeles. So stick with me. Steve Kim at some point is going to join me after I unpack and explain this. It's going to be an awesome show. DeMarcus Boogie Cousins almost sparked the malice in the palace in Puerto Rico last night. Steve Kim and I will talk about that, and I'll play you some clips of Boogie Cousins getting into it with Puerto Rican basketball fans. What was the other thing? The other thing, Kevin Durant may be headed to the San Antonio Spurs. I'll ask Steve Kim about that, but I also asked Steve to react to these dots I'm about to connect. Angel Reese, Los Angeles riots. And I know some of you, man, Whitlock will blame Angel Reese for any and everything. I'm just going to walk you through it, and hopefully you're going to enjoy it, and then you can go tell your friends about it later today, and you can pretend like you connected those dots. I'm just trying to keep you ahead of the conversation. So buckle up for a great show. I want to start off by thanking our great friends at Relief Factor. And I'm glad that Relief Factor I'm promoting today, because yesterday, I spent 3-4 hours with my great friend, Jeffrey Steele. He was over at my house. We were taping some episodes of Bring Your Own Guitar, BYOG. And Jeff was there in great shape. The guy's 63, and he bikes every day, 30 miles every morning. He's 63 years old. One of the ways and one of the main reasons he's able to do it is because of Relief Factor. It's part of his daily regimen. And so Jeff came up. I haven't seen Jeff in maybe a month. He's been touring everywhere, performing. Jeff's in great demand. And Jeff looked at me and was like, oh, man, I can see you're looking better. You're working out in the gym. And I was like, yes, Relief Factor is helping me as well. Guys, if you're struggling with inflammation and those little nagging aches and pains, and you're just chalking it up to, oh, man, I'm just getting old. I just can't do what I used to be able to do. Yes, you can. You just need the right help. And Relief Factor may be that solution for you. It's a daily supplement, 100% drug-free. It helps activate your body to fight the inflammation that's the source of those aches and pains and basically all diseases within human beings. Relief Factor has a 3-week quick start program that's only $19.95. That's a $20 bill. Look in your pocket right now, those of you that still carry cash. You got a $20 bill, and if it fell out of your pockets, you wouldn't lose sleep, you wouldn't be upset, you wouldn't be like, oh, my life is ruined. Take that $20 that you would throw away, or you might tip someone at dinner tonight, and use it to see if Relief Factor can help you fight the inflammation and the nagging aches and pains that compromise your life. The people that choose the 3-week quick start, 70% of them circle back and re-up because they are already experiencing the benefits of Relief Factor. It's just a $20 bill to see if you can fight those aches and pains that are compromising your life. You want to be as active as Jeffrey Steele. You want to be like me and try to fight the battle of the bulge and get back in shape and lift weights. And I lifted weights. yesterday and I can feel it right now, but I'm not in terrible pain, but I can just feel it, and I'm able to do it because I'm taking Relief Factor. You should too. Use this phone number, 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800, the number 4RELIEF, or visit relieffactor.com. It's just $20 to fight your aches and pains and inflammation. Relieffactor.com, 1-800-4RELIEF. All right, let's get into today's show. Let me connect these dots, and I'm going to start with something you've heard me reference before, those of you that have been with me for a long, long time. But we're looking out at these riots in Los Angeles, and we're wondering, hey, what is this about? Where is this coming from? This is those of us in Middle America, those of us that casually follow politics, and that's a lot of us, or those of us that, follow it very closely, but still like, what is going on? We're just trying to remove illegal immigrants who've been bused, shipped, invited into this country, and they're bringing a lot of trouble and chaos and a lot of anti-American sentiment into this country. Where did it come from? I want to, and I've invited you all to do this before, but I want you to, those of you that haven't taken my advice, there is a Netflix series called Wild Wild Country. We're living Wild Wild Country right now. That's what's going on in America. If you haven't seen the Netflix documentary, Wild Wild Country, it's about some sort of Indian religious guru named Bhagwan or Osho. He's in the 1960s, late 1960s. He's over in India, and he started this sexual religious cult in India. They start having problems in India. They read the U.S. Constitution. People in India that have started some sort of religious sexual cult read the U.S. Constitution and say, hey, man, we're having some problems over here in India. People are complaining about us. The government's on our back. This U.S. Constitution, hey, let's move to America. We can pull these shenanigans in America and use their U.S. Constitution to set up our own little sanctuary city, sanctuary area. And so in the late 1970s, early 1980s, Osho and his right-hand woman, this woman named Sheila, who he groomed into this sexual cult at age 16, Osho and Sheila and about 1,000 people moved to Oregon. And they move out into, this not very populated part of Oregon and start buying up land for their sexual religious cult. Osho's the leader. And the locals that are there, the Americans that are there originally, get a little bit uncomfortable. There's people that have moved in and are buying up land, and they got this sexual cult thing going on, and they're having so much sex, and they're creating so much dysfunction in the town and in the area. And people can hear these, loud, super loud sexual orgies and orgasms and all this stuff going on, that they become at odds with Osho and Sheila and this religious cult. And they start bickering about these people that have moved in from India to set up this cult. And the Indians eventually start recruiting homeless people into this town that they've taken over, erected in the middle of Oregon. They start bussing in homeless people from Los Angeles and surrounding states because they want to change the voting demographics in Oregon. They want to increase their power. It's a voting scheme. They've read the U.S. Constitution. They realize, hey, we can gerrymander and take over this area if we just get enough people on the voter polls. And again, it's just like what's going on in California and why there's this whole big fight because the census doesn't care whether you're a legal or an illegal U.S. resident. They count you, and the next thing you know, California now has more congressional seats based off the census that says this many people live in California. It doesn't matter how many registered voters, it just matters how many people you have in the state of California or in any of these states, how many congressional seats you get. And so the people that they're bringing into California make it so that California has more people in our House of Representatives than other areas, and it doesn't matter how many of them are there legally. It just matters how many people are in California. And so if Trump and Republicans deport several million illegal immigrants, that could reduce the number of congressional seats that Democrats have. It's people on the left have read the Constitution. Just like people in India in the 1960s said, hey, we're trying to set up this sexual cult. We're having problems here in India. Hey, I've read the U.S. Constitution. Hey, man, we can go over here and game the system and build a little sexual paradise for ourselves in the middle of Oregon. And the next thing you know, when they do this, and this is in the early 1980s, the next thing you know, this Sheila woman and this sexual cult, they're actually bombing and killing people. You can watch this Netflix documentary, Wild, Wild Country. Things turn violent. And this little Indian woman, she is the mastermind behind this violence, and they're starting to poison people. This documentary is fascinating, particularly if you watch it while thinking about what's going on in America today and what people that have read the Constitution and try to manipulate the Constitution and how they try to do it with foreigners and other illegal immigrants. We've seen this all before. This thing turned very violent, and the FBI had to get involved out in Oregon to clean this whole mess up. They eventually had to ship Osho out of the country. I'm not sure if he went back to India or wherever, but they had to him and his whole little sexual cult and Sheila, they all eventually get kicked out of the United States of America. Wild, wild country. That's what we're living in right now. That's what we're seeing with all of this mass migration. It's a global thing. You can see it over in the UK, but you can now see it here in the United States of America. And this wild, wild country and this violent conflict that they're promoting over immigration, it's all seemingly going to come to a head this Saturday, June 14th. They're now sponsoring a national day of protest, all in alliance with all these illegal immigrants all over the country. So you're asking, what does Angel Reese have to do with any of this? The reason why they're getting away with this is because there is a mentality pervasive in America that black women are at the root of, black people are at the root of. And you could see it last night at the BET Awards. Anything that trolls and or bothers the so-called white evangelical Christian conservative man, there's a group of people led by black women who think that's a positive. How can I annoy and antagonize the white man? That's a win. There is no game plan. There is no strategy other than waking up. How can I annoy the white evangelical man? Anything that does that is a net positive, and we must support. So here we are at the BET Awards last night, and I want to play shot number 3. I believe this woman's name is Doechii or Doechii. Some of you young guys help me out. Justin Hoppenmeier, this is some sort of rapper who won, I think, Rapper of the Year or Female Rapper of the Year. Am I pronouncing this? Doechii. Doechii, yeah, Doechii. Whatever. Anyway, Hoochie Mama, I think is what her real name is, but Doechii. She won, I think, for Best Female Rapper, and so she's at the BET Awards, and I want you to listen to her speech. This is just a minute excerpt, and then listen to the wild applause. We're at the BET Awards. Listen to what this woman is saying, and listen to the applause get louder and louder and louder as black people support these riots that are going on in Los Angeles over illegal immigrants and the violent conflict between them and law enforcement. Play shot number 3.
I do want to address what's happening right now outside of the building. There are ruthless attacks that are creating fear and chaos in our communities in the name of law and order. Trump is using military forces to stop a protest. And I want y'all to consider what kind of government it appears to be when every time we exercise our democratic right to protest, the military is deployed against us. What type of government is that? People are being swept up and torn from their families, and I feel it's my responsibility as an artist to use this moment to speak up for all oppressed people, for black people, for Latino people, for trans people, for the people in Gaza. We all deserve to live in hope and not in fear, and I hope we stand together, my brothers and my sisters, against hate, and we protest against it. Thank you, BET.
Have you heard me piggyback off of Cat Williams and say, these people are plants, they're installed? There's a woman named Doechii who I'm sure has virtually no talent, like most of these rappers today. If you think Cardi B has some sort of talent, you think any Kendrick Lamar, they don't have talent. They talk over beats. That's it. And do little nursery school profane rhymes. This isn't some great, unique skill or talent. Virtually anybody could be a rapper. These people are installed, and they're handed awards and built up as icons and influencers to influence the rest of the masses into idiocy. So here's some rapper that no one knows who she is. No one knows, did she get straight A's in high school? Did she flunk out of high school? Did she sleep her way into this position? No one knows how she got here. But she's given a platform, and now she has something to say about Donald Trump, illegal immigration, the transgenders, the gay movement, the alphabet mafia, and there's wild applause from the audience and all the other MK Ultras that have been installed as celebrities and influencers, wildly applause, leading the rest of America, particularly Black America. And I'm about to tell you why Black America is so important. So, hey, yeah, they're trying to kick illegal immigrants out of America. Your instincts are to be for it because you don't want these illegal immigrants and their MS-13 gangs and all. You don't want that in your neighborhoods, in your country. I know you're thinking that. But Doechii and the rest of the influencers and plants and the installed people have taken a check to get you to support something that's not in your best interest. And they do it by connecting everything to race. This is the black thing to do. It's not about whether this is the smart thing to do. It's not about whether it's in your best interest to do. It's the black thing to do. And here's the bonus. White people, particularly white Republicans, particularly white evangelicals, they don't like it. So even though it's not in your best interest, you'll be for it because it antagonizes white people. Here's Angel Reese and how she fits in. So last night, BET, I think they started this in 2001, the BET Awards, Sportswoman of the Year. They've been doing this since 2001. I believe Serena Williams has won 16 times. But Serena Williams is now no longer an athlete. And so Angel Reese was named Sportswoman of the Year. Angel Reese. The woman with a retarded offensive basketball game. A woman who's an absolute embarrassment to the WNBA because she's getting so much attention and she's so unskilled, she confirms nearly every stereotype about women's basketball, that it's hot garbage and hot trash. But she's the winner of this award over A'ja Wilson. Haven't we all heard A'ja Wilson is the best basketball player? Haven't we all heard that A'ja Wilson needs to be supported and A'ja Wilson should be the face of the WNBA? But this woman, who can barely make layups, is named the Sportswoman of the Year. Why? And this is the second year in a row that she's been named Sportswoman of the Year by the BET Awards. Why? Because she antagonizes white Christian men and conservatives. She trolls Caitlin Clark. And so what's in the best interest of black people and black women is put on the back burner so that we control Caitlin Clark, so that we control white men, so we can antagonize and annoy white people. That's the agenda of black women, particularly feminist black women. What can we do to annoy men? We have a problem with men. We've already dominated and subdued and pushed into submission the black man. Now our goal is the white man. And so we wake up every day and our mindset and our vision only extends beyond what can we do to anger and annoy white men or white people. That is success. That's not a game plan. That's not Jason Whitlock waking up saying, what can I do for Jason Whitlock today? Oh, let me check this list. Okay, let me eat less than 2,000 calories. Let me make sure I work out. Let me make sure I'm in bed by 9 o'clock. That's all in my best interest. But the game that's being executed, the strategy that's being executed by black women at the behest of people that want to destroy America is wake up every day and say, what can I do to annoy white people? That will help me. This is the twisted mindset, the twisted logic of black people. And so in order to annoy white people, let's venerate, celebrate, and place Angel Reese on the highest pedestal in women's sports Let's place her on the highest pedestal in women's basketball. This does not serve black women, the WNBA, women's sports, women in general. It will get you clicks. It will get you hate tweets and posts, but it does not serve you. We've centered Angel Reese, a meme and a laughingstock in the WNBA, and diminished Asia Wilson, Nafesia Collier, let alone Caitlin Clark. This is insanity. Only an illogical person, only someone with no vision, only someone not fit for leadership would execute this strategy. Hey, we're going to make a buffoon and a laughingstock and someone who has sexualized herself. We're going to make her the face of women's sports, the face of female black athletes. We're going to elevate her. We're going to overlook the more qualified, the best and brightest of us, because our goal isn't to elevate the best and brightest of us. Our goal is to annoy white people. Do you not see how this is all connected? Do you not see how this is all an extension of like, hey, I'm not going to celebrate Clarence Thomas. He may be the best Supreme Court justice in the history of America. And I know that sounds farcical to some of you leftists, but this is actual truth. Clarence Thomas potentially is the greatest Supreme Court justice in the history of America. And we denigrate him at the behest of liberal white people and turn him into a laughingstock, not because it serves us, but because it serves liberals, because it serves some political party. And so we denigrate him and celebrate Ketanji Brown Jackson, who can't and refuse to explain what a woman is. Let's pretend like she is more valuable, more accomplished, smarter than Clarence Thomas. We took Ben Carson, a neurosurgeon, married to his black high school sweetheart for 40 and 50 years. Nope, let's don't celebrate him. He's conservative. White people, white evangelicals like him. He's married to one woman his entire life. He's a neurosurgeon, one of the smartest people, one of the most accomplished surgeons in the history of America. But because white conservatives like him, we will brand him an Uncle Tom and we will denigrate him, and we will show Jay-Z and other rappers far more respect than Ben Carson. How does this serve us? This is kamikaze. This is a suicide mission in service of feminism and liberalism, in service of the destruction of the patriarchy. Angel Reese is like Doechii. She's being installed. She's a clown. She'll play the role. Her entire brand is, look at me, I'm half naked. Look at me, I'm an OnlyFans model. Look at me, I hate Caitlin Clark. That's what she offers the sports world, and some rebounds. And she's the best and brightest. She's Sportswoman of the Year for the second year in a row. Here is Angel Reese doing what Angel Reese does best, drawing attention to herself. Let me make sure, yeah, this is shot number one. This is a minute of Angel Reese celebrating herself in some outfit and presenting herself in the most ghetto, smacking gum, talking ignorant. This is Angel Reese doing what Angel Reese does, and BET and black people. Oh, look at this, you queen. Queen Angel. Play the clip.
Okay, happy game day. We're gonna show you the fit. It's 10. We're in Chicago. It's only right. I haven't pulled out the fur yet. Shout out, thank you to my mate. Okay. That'll be level real quick. I'm feeling like Lil' Kim. Feeling like New York. I'm feeling like Chicago. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Let me show y'all the boots tee. Hold on. Jennifer Lee. Shout out to you, baby, for making some heels in the tall girls. My brain coming in. She said, "Who run the world, girls?" Happy game day.
This is a clown. Sportswoman of the Year. She's Sportswoman of the Year simply to annoy white conservatives. Because we're not going to give up on the lie that Angel Reese is somehow a rival, a competitor to Caitlin Clark. We're going to follow and build up that obvious false narrative until it crashes and burns and takes us all down. It's no different. George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown. We will crash and burn with all these criminals that get killed by police because they're criminals and idiots, or get killed by George Zimmerman because they're beating his head into the ground, or get shot because Breonna Taylor's boyfriend is a coward and drug her to the front door when police were at the door, and then he shot first and got his girlfriend killed. But we will promote the narrative, oh, Breonna Taylor was just laying in bed minding her own business when the police barged in and executed her in cold blood. We will follow any false narrative trying to win an argument or trying to provoke an argument with white evangelicals. None of it serves us. Nothing we're doing is in our best interest. It's a suicide mission. And so we look out and see in our own communities and neighborhoods. Now we don't own any of them. There's always a foreigner coming in and building a business off of our backs and our money in our communities. And we're out here fighting for illegal immigrants. We got people at the BET Awards. I want to play Doechii one more time because I cannot believe people were applauding this. If Clarence Thomas or Ben Carson were lynched today, and they did a high-tech lynching of Clarence Thomas in real time in 1992 or whatever year, 1991, whatever year Anita Hill pulled that BS. And if they did it in picture, you'd see black people all under the lynching tree of Clarence Thomas, all smiling and taking pictures and thumbs up. Yeah, we lynched and killed Clarence Thomas. We just destroyed his reputation. This is great. We are our own worst enemies with our mindset. What we will celebrate, what we will ignore. I'm not an Asia Wilson fan because she's a hardcore feminist and wants to be worshipped, but she is the best, or was. Now Nafisa Collier probably is, but Angel Wilson is the best player in the WNBA. And instead of building her up and celebrating her, we're building up a clown. All so we can allegedly troll white people. We're supporting illegal immigrants at the BET Awards to wild applause. These guys will come into our neighborhoods, build businesses, and take over those neighborhoods, but we're applauding it because, hey, Donald Trump is trying to eliminate and get rid of these illegal immigrants, and our job every day is to wake up and annoy Donald Trump and the people that support Donald Trump. Play Doechii again. This blows my mind. Play it again.
I do want to address what's happening right now outside of the building. There are ruthless attacks that are creating fear and chaos in our communities in the name of law and order. Trump is using military forces to stop a protest. And I want y'all to consider what kind of government it appears to be when every time we exercise our democratic right to protest, the military is deployed against us. What type of government is that? People are being swept up and torn from their families, and I feel it's my responsibility as an artist to use this moment to speak up for all oppressed people, for Black people, for Latino people, for trans people, for the people in Gaza. We all deserve to live in hope and not in fear, and I hope we stand together, my brothers and my sisters, against hate, and we protest against it. Thank you, BET.
It's our job to stand up and speak for all oppressed people. This is, when I say everything has been moved away from God and everything, all these installed influencers, our job is to fear and obey God, period, end of story. Well, that's what standing up for oppressed people, the transgenders and the gays and the illegal immigrants that come over here and just want things that American citizens have a right to and illegal immigrants don't. We should have no open borders. You know what? We should have open houses, and anybody that wants to come into Doechii's house can just come and set up, eat her food, drink her whiskey, wine, smoke her weed, whatever it is she's into. This is illogical. It's women being installed as leaders and basing everything on emotion and basing everything on revenge. These are women scorned. They hate men and they blame white men for everything that's wrong with them. How I'm going to end this with a potential ray of hope, but before I get there, I want to make the one last connection and how this is all tied together. You know, she's talking about every time we protest, and they sick the military on us every time. Did she watch 2020? When people were burning down buildings and killing police officers and looting stores, and no one did anything about it? And Kamala Harris and LeBron James were offering to pay people's bail? Are we supposed to ignore the fact that these are paid protesters? They took out ads on Craigslist offering people $12,000. So, hey, you want to be a badass? You want to be a protester? John Rich, our friend, country music, he pointed all this stuff out, brought the receipts. There were ads on Craigslist. $12,500 to participate in riots. This is organized, this is paid. And they're sending out some idiot rapper who most people don't know who she is, don't know what song she puts out, don't know. Is she a retard? I mean, is she autistic? Is she on the spectrum? What is she? What qualifies her? A rap song? None of this, anybody that's an American citizen, and particularly those of you whose American citizenry goes back several generations, goes back to the 1700s, maybe even before then, you would have to be a retard to support what this woman is talking about. You'd have to be a retard to allow this woman and others use the brand of black people to justify this insanity. Because that's the justification the media uses. It's like, this is in the tradition of Martin Luther King and the civil rights movement and black people's fight for struggles and freedom and equality. That's what the transgenders are doing. That's what the illegal immigrants from all over the globe are doing. That's what the people shipped in from Somalia to take over parts of Minnesota. They're just like MLK. They're just like Marcus Garvey. They're just like Booker T. Washington. They're just like Richard Allen. They're just like Frederick Douglass. The hell they are. The Black American ancestry stretches back to the 1600s here in America. Ilhan Omar and then people they shipped in from Somalia, that ain't us. Them MS-13 gang members, that ain't us. This is insanity. I want to say, again, that there is a ray of hope, that like, you just see little signs and you just want to hold on to that hope because, I don't know, desperate times call for desperate measures and you don't want to give up on hope. But I saw this clip of Candace Parker speaking a tiny bit of truth and I was like, oh, wow, here's someone on TV that has clearly been authorized or has taken it upon herself, like, well, I'm going to inject a tiny bit of truth into the Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark deal. I'm actually offended. Candace Parker, in my view, this is a former all-time great women's basketball player, is kind of like offended because she's figured it out, like, we're going to run around and pretend like Angel Reese is the gold standard for women's basketball? This is an insult. If I'm Asia Wilson, instead of being upset with Caitlin Clark and Caitlin Clark fans, I'm upset with Angel Reese. I'm upset with the media for running around and pretending like Angel Reese is somehow one of the top 50 WNBA players. But Candace Parker, it took long enough. How could I? Well, I know how I could, but because I know more about basketball than Candace Parker and virtually all these women. And I say that you're sitting there, oh, you don't know more than Candace Parker. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Because it doesn't matter how much sports a person with a vagina and breast plays. They don't love sports the way that I do. They have other concerns. When I was a little kid, and collecting baseball, football, and basketball cards and following all sports like my life depended upon it. That ain't what little girls, even the jocks, that's not what they were doing. It's not what they do. And I know some of you are offended, but again, you got menstrual cycles, you got all kinds of things that distract you that I don't have and that men don't have. But I want to give Candace Parker some credit here. She corrected Jemele Hill, one of these woke idiots, and spoke some truth here as it relates to Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. Let's play the clip.
So I just think that it's like comparing apples and oranges. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
At least
they don't play the same position.
They like doing the like Magic and the Bird comparison. Well, they played similar positions. Like Bird wasn't a point guard, but he played the guard position. Like they at least kind of match up. This, like, what are we doing? So I'm not falling into that. I'm not into the comparison. I think that there are a number of things that Angel can improve on, will improve on in the situation she's in. And I think Caitlin Clark has done that even in her first year in terms of, you know, being able to be that floor general. Her and Aaliyah Boston's connection has really improved. And I think the thing about Caitlin, yes, she can shoot from the logo, but she makes her team better. And so I think just in terms for her, it's going to be moving. What are you doing without the ball in your hands? And I think it's going to be taking care of the ball for her, those two things.
Yeah, because she, I always thought her, as much as she was known for the logo threes and all that, it's her passing with how she can
100%
control the game. Just freakish floor vision. I know she had that 10 turnover game.
Yeah.
But that's something.
That's like a learning. I think all of us young turn the ball over.
She'll get better.
And especially when you're the focal point of the entire defense, you know, you're going to have more turnovers. You're going to have more live ball situations. And the competitive element of you do tend to take chances early on. And you learn that sometimes it might be a highlight, but 7 out of 10 times it's probably going to be a turnover. And I had to learn that because I was, you know, some of the biggest things with Pat was like offensive rebounding and me turning the ball over. So those are the two things. I get it.
Finally, a little common sense. Now, and again, this is why I say, like, hey, Candace, I love you to death, great basketball player. But at the end of the day, you're a woman, and you just don't know basketball the way you think you do. And I'm not saying this to be offensive. I'm just keeping it factual. I love the fact that she's calling BS on the Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese deal. She very subtly and politely is like, hey, Caitlin Clark makes her teammates better. And what she's not saying, but what she's implying is, which is factual, Angel Reese doesn't make anyone better. Everybody knows this. Flau'jae Johnson, or whatever the little rapper that plays for LSU, her and Angel Reese don't even get along. They don't like each other. They're not friends because everybody hated playing with Angel Reese. Everybody that follows basketball, women's basketball, everybody knows this. Angel Reese is a nightmare to play with. There's a reason why the Chicago Sky may end up the worst team in the WNBA this year, and it won't be because, oh, Vandersloot got hurt. No, it's because Angel Reese sucks all the air out of the room and is a nightmare to play with because she has no self-awareness. Everybody knows this. Candace Parker just said it nicely and politely. Everybody loves to play with Caitlin Clark. Here's the problem with me. And it's because, you know, I could say all that without putting in this little extra part, but I just keep it all the way true. And Candace, I apologize for pointing this out. But damn it, don't you ever get on TV again and call yourself some basketball expert and argue that Larry Bird played the guard position. Cut it out. This is common sense. Larry Bird is one of the 5 most influential players in the history of basketball. Let me repeat that. Larry Bird is one of the 5 most influential players in the history of basketball, and he's probably in the top 3. It's Michael Jordan, LeBron James, talking about influential. I'm not talking about GOAT, but just influential. Magic and Bird, you got to put them in combination in terms of influencing basketball. And I would actually, in terms of influencing basketball, I'd put Michael Jordan and Magic and Bird ahead of LeBron because LeBron influenced it in a negative way. These guys all elevated the game. And you can't get on TV. You're an NBA broadcaster. You work for TNT. They're passing you off like you know basketball the way men do. You can't do that and say Larry Bird played the guard position. That's just a comical mistake. Man, 6'9" and slower than molasses. He played power forward and small forward. He couldn't play guard. He couldn't guard anybody at the guard position. This is like, it's damn near like, Joe Montana was a hell of a wide receiver too. He's kind of like Jerry Rice. And I know that's a lot. That's stretching it too far. But this is why I say, hey, ladies, love you to death. Stay in your lane. But, when you get on TV and anywhere and start talking about Larry Bird played guard, it just cracks me up and just fix me a sandwich. Makes me go there. Get some Miracle Whip and fix me a sandwich. Go talk about the WNBA, Pat Summitt, all that. Anyway, this is what I could just be sitting here praising Candace Parker. And Candace, I apologize for just keeping it real, but that's just stupidity. At least Isaiah Thomas played the power forward position. Did he? Anyway, so you guys I'll ask Steve Kim here in a second, but hit me on email, fearlessblazeshow@gmail.com. Hop in the chat right now. Tell me, did I connect these dots? I know did I, because the argument that I'm making is that Angel Reese explains what's going on with these riots in Los Angeles and these riots that they're hoping to kick off nationwide. Did I connect those dots, or am I just crazy? But they're all connected. They're trying to troll white America. And in the process, they're destroying themselves. Only the idiocy of feminism would allow this, would go on some kind of kamikaze suicide mission with no reward for themselves. You idiots. We're all going to die. We're devaluing our own citizenship. We're devaluing our role in creating the greatest country in the history of the planet, all so we can anger white men. What's the win in that for us? It's insanity. Steve Kim, next. Chad is taking a significant deep dive into the legacy and impact of Martin Luther King Jr.
A hero. He's considered to be a leader. He's considered to be almost like a deity.
The reason why I think your documentary has a chance, if people just put on their thinking caps for a minute and just think about what we're seeing right now.
He exploited a grievance, and where there was no grievance, he created one rhetorically.
Martin Luther King, force for good or force for bad for black people and American culture?
Force for bad. Total force for bad. But we're attaching a lot of stuff to MLK that didn't originate with him. Stuff that was plagiarized. But he was a good orator, so he made it sound good. Martin Luther King, not only did he have all the answers, but who else could have done it?
모두 다 빨리 박수 쳐 기다리지 말고 서둘러 reason that I'm back is to feed you raps when I see that you up here below so fly.
All right, welcome back, Steve Kim. I think we've got him stationed atop his rooftop in Los Angeles. He's reporting live from the streets of Los Angeles. Steve, did I do a decent job connecting Angel Reese to the insanity that we're seeing in Los Angeles and across America. This whole thing for black people and a lot of people is like, hey, whatever we can do to anger white men somehow serves the rest of us. I think it's insanity, but I think it's the mentality that's driving a lot of the support for Angel Reese. I think it's the mentality driving the actions of a lot of black liberals and feminists.
Yeah, but the dots were connected very well, but you missed the most obvious one. Out also in the streets of LA with the nonviolent protesters, they're also throwing up a lot of bricks. Unfortunately, their aim is a lot better. They're more accurate than Angel. They're actually hitting the target. My God, now Air Jordans and apples falling. But again, peaceful, very peaceful. But Jason, you make an overall point that I think others have pointed out in different ways. But yes, the black liberal democratic loyalist has absolutely become the Trojan horse for degeneracy and spreading that message. But to be fair, I don't think it's just against white conservative Republican American. I think it's also there's a lot of black men out there that they're against. There is a culture war within the culture, because if you actually look at the demographic breakdown of who is voting for Trump, the most loyal voting base for Democrats and for Kamala Harris and the guy before him, a weekend at Biden's, it was black women. Black men are actually veering off a little bit, and I'm watching a lot of social media. It's very interesting what's going on. There's a lot of black content creators that are flat out saying, you know what? Get away from the Democratic Party. You don't love America. Get out of here. Love it or leave it. Now, that's something that I think a lot of people would be surprised by, but they've had enough. So I don't think it's just against white America. I think it is overall against the pro-American and also conservative movement.
Yeah, I say it, and I didn't say it today, but I say it in a different way. It's just they have a hostility towards men and male leadership and a patriarchal society. This country was founded by men. It was set up to serve men, and that's offensive to a lot of. It should have been served. It should have been set up to serve men and women. No, it shouldn't have. One, because you just can't. We play two different roles, and the people that sacrifice their lives, men, should have more say in a properly run country than the people that don't sacrifice their lives, women.
Yeah, and also another thing that's really interesting is I like to say the standards you set is what you really think of them. Another phrase from Confucius is that who you prop up as a hero, who you deify, says a lot about you as a culture. So again, if this is the movement that you want to represent, you want to be the mouthpiece for this, feel free to do that. But then I think there's an underlying issue that they never get. You are allowed to have freedom of expression. We are allowed to have the freedom not to agree with you. And I'm not surprised by any of this. The group of people that are endorsing all of this activity, they don't like America. They don't like democracy. They claim not to be capitalists, even though their whole lifestyle is funded upon it. I don't expect any differently from these individuals. This is par for the course.
It is par for the course. Steve, I want to, what do you think of my argument that hyping up Angel Reese as Sportswoman of the Year actually denigrates Asia Wilson and a bunch of Simone Biles, Sha'Carri Richardson, Coco Gauff? It's like putting her out there as the best and brightest actually denigrates women that have accomplished things in the world of sports at a high level.
Well, again, it's about standards. What exactly are your standards, and what do you think of those people that fit them? But again, there was a certain guy that said that for the black and WNBA player, Caitlin Clark was not the enemy. The one that really sucks the oxygen out of the room for them is Angel Reese. Oh, yeah, that was me. That was me. And this here is an example right there. Let me just pat myself on the back because I nailed that one. The reality is this, though, Jason, and I saw the video of her getting dressed, talking about her get up. I don't think there's any doubt, Jason, and you've been in locker rooms, I've been on teams. There has to be lingering, right there, that one. There has to be lingering and growing resentment over her. And that's different than jealousy. That if you're not going to be a star player and you're taking up all of whatever you're getting in terms of publicity, public relations, and the impact that that person has on the floor directly to your team and how that impacts you individually as an athlete trying to make a living, I just sense that those teammates right now in Chicago, they're getting to their point. Don't you think, Jason?
They will, but I don't. Here's why I say they may not go there. I mean, publicly at least, or in any real way. We've seen this in the sports media world in terms of Stephen A. Smith just propped up year after year after year, people behind his back talking about him and talking about why are they propping up this guy? And then eventually everybody just kind of raising the white flag and saying, hey, look, Stephen A. Smith has the wind at his back. And so I'm just going to go along with it and pretend like he's a super talented guy and he's the best and brightest. And now people actually fear Stephen A. Smith and the power he wields at ESPN and potentially may hold in the political space, and they just kind of go along with it. I think the same thing is possibly going to be at play with the Chicago Sky and you know, any team. Listen, I factually, no one liked playing with her at LSU. It never came out. Maybe eventually it will. I just saw an interview where Flau'jae Johnson talked kind of openly, like, hey, we're not friends, but she wouldn't say much beyond that. But yeah, Angel Reese and we can't figure out, and Hadley, if you're listening, we can't figure out if she's won this award 3 years in a row or 2 years in a row. I'm someone that thinks she's won it 2 years in a row. TJ and Justin are promising me, and I guess Yahoo Sports has said she's won it 3 years in a row. What did you think, Steve, and while we have that debate, but what did you think of Candace Parker seemingly calling BS on all this Angel Reese stuff?
Well, you know, there was another guy who said that it was an absolute insult if you're going to make this about a basketball comparison between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, that it's an insult to Caitlin Clark. That again, how's the old crouching tiger here? Call me the Asian Hubie Brown of the WNBA. My insights are just unparalleled. But you know what this reminds me of, Jason? This reminds me of all these Democratic operatives, the latest one being Cringy Jean DEI, who's now suddenly an independent. Now they're suddenly an independent. Now suddenly people are noticing that Angel Reese is nowhere near the skill level of Caitlin Clark. Jason, wasn't that kind of obvious about 3 years ago, regardless of the LSU Iowa result? So now we're just noticing that they're not the same player, they're not the same caliber, they're not the same skill level. Really, how convenient.
There was obviously, many of us recognize that from the get-go. But when Angel Reese won the championship at LSU, it kind of gave a slight justification for there to be an argument. But once that next year happened, and you saw Angel Reese, I think she played against Carmela Cardoso, and was like, holy cow, she can't get her shot off. And that's when the lights went off of me, like, oh, this woman's horribly unskilled. And when it gets to the WNBA, it's really going to show up. But yeah, it's been obvious for a while they're on different planets. But it's not even just they're on different planets. It's like Angel Reese actually, different universes. But Angel Reese is actually an embarrassment for women's basketball. She is so unskilled. There are so many laughable videos. She's become a meme and a punchline, and people keep trying to run her out there like she's the best and the brightest. At some point, enough is going to be enough, and you think these girls would wise up and be like, this woman's actually a problem for us. She diminishes the game. Caitlin Clark elevates the game.
Yeah, I mean, Jason, people always talk about Anna Kournikova really just being another pretty face, that she was more sizzle than steak.
Yes.
You know what the truth is about Anna Kournikova? She was actually, at her peak, a top 10 player. She just could not win tournaments, but she would get all the way to the finals, semifinals. She had a little bit of Grand Slam success, but it's not like she was getting blown out double bagel 6-0 in 2 sets and 28 minutes in the first round of tournaments. She would actually go far, and she'd get to the very end. She just couldn't get over the top against really good, most elite players of all time. I don't believe that Angel Reese is even at that level. And Jason, let me just stick up her candy, girl. I get it. She may have misspoke. Larry Bird was a 3. I'm going to stick up for her. I think what she is saying is that her and Magic both distributed the ball, that you could both run your offense through them in a similar fashion. And as she noted, they made players better. So, Miss Parker, I just want to apologize for that gratuitous shot taken by Jason Whitlock. Our apologies from the Fearless Nation.
I'm glad you went there because I wanted to ask you that. Was I being too hard on Candace Parker?
Yes. Now, look,
Really?
Candace Parker's daughter will never do like a crossover, double layup, tomahawk jam like she once said. They're not happening, okay? And she ought to think about lowering the rim. She showed way too much attitude that one time. Didn't like that. But Larry Bird, you could actually start the offense through him. Now, you had to do it in the low post, didn't bring up the ball a lot. But where Magic and Bird are incredibly similar is that they had incredible floor vision. They literally knew where everyone else was on the floor. And they were about winning games. Larry Bird could score 40 points on a dime, but he could also get 20 rebounds. He could also get 10 to 15 assists. I think he's the best passing small forward of all time. And I think he makes an argument. I know a lot of LeBron fans aren't going to like this. In my view, he still makes an argument for being the best 3 of all time. He's certainly, in my mind, among the top 5 or 6 players that ever lived.
Steve, you're telling me, and I get it, and maybe I was too hard on her, but saying that Larry Bird was a guard, that didn't hit you at...
God, well, come on. Look, we don't ever make typos. We don't ever misspeak. We don't ever get a fact wrong. Really, we live in a glass house. Come on, Jason. Come on. Come on.
Isaiah Thomas was one of the best forwards of all time.
Right.
I don't need to correct that.
Okay.
I just need to keep moving from that. I don't need to,
Okay.
I don't need to say,
God, you just
Steve
can't
Kim
leave
was one of the best Ethiopian sports writers of all time. I don't need to correct that.
I'd be in the top 10. If I moved to Ethiopia right now, I'd make the top 10. I guarantee you that. Her faux pas was not that bad, Jason. You're just, that's a cheap shot. That's a Galata low blow. Come on. She made it. Look, the fact that she said that right in front of Jamel Hill's face, and by the way, old Jemmy Jem's face was like, oh, God. Oh, that was priceless. I want to give Miss Parker credit for her bluntness. Now, maybe it's out of convenience. Maybe she's doing it now when it's safe. But still, let's not harp on a little faux pas when the overall big picture point was very solid there, Whitlock. Come on, we've all made mistakes here. Jeez.
All right, I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna let it go. I've been too hard.
Fine.
I want to play you clips from DeMarcus Cousins yesterday at a game in Puerto Rico. Do we have? Hold on, I'm looking at 2 clips. There was a third clip that I asked for. Do we have the clip of him in the guy's face on the sidelines, where he basically grabs his pecker and shakes it in the guy's face? Do we have that clip? Yeah. Okay. Listen, this is how it starts. The guy is doing this, Steve. He's doing that. moving his hands in front of his face like, hey, you're crying.
Wah.
And DeMarcus Cousins grabs his wang and starts shaking it at the guy, right in the guy's face, and the guy starts giving him the finger back. That gets DeMarcus Cousins ejected. And then all hell breaks loose as he's walking, to exiting, and he reaches up and kind of slaps at a guy who responds by throwing popcorn or a drink at Marcus Cousins, and then other people start to. I feel like this is 100% all on DeMarcus Cousins. He did this. He provoked. No?
Well, Jay, look. I get it. DeMarcus could have just walked away, but he's in the heat of battle. He's a little angry. But I have a question. Fans have a right to boo, hiss, heckle, but you don't think any of them crossed the line at all. And I hate the whiny athletes. I hate when they go all Westbrook. You don't think the fans could have conducted themselves any better and respected the boundaries between the spectator and the athlete at all? Really, Jason? Really?
Let's analyze this like the Zapruder film.
Yes, frame by frame. Break it down, please.
Frame by. So let's start with him in the game and the fan doing the little crying deal.
Okay, that's fair.
And
that's good.
this look, he's doing a little cry, and you walk up on the guy and you start grabbing in his face.
Okay,
He provoked
that's on DeMarcus.
all of this.
Okay.
What? So let's just start there. Who's in the right or wrong there, Steve?
Well, DeMarcus is in the wrong there. Not a doubt. Do not disagree one bit with you there, Whitlock. Agreed.
So he started it.
Okay.
Now, when they move, now let's go to the next aspect of the film. He's walking off the court. Let's go to the second part where he's walking into the tunnel. He's walking into the tunnel. He's trying to get the crowd fired up by muscling up, raising his shirt up, and then whatever he's doing with his arms there. He's walking on, people are yelling and screaming. He reaches up and starts, that guy, he provoked the first guy that threw something at him, and then everybody else just kind of followed in behind that.
Well,
No?
Okay, I'll disagree a little bit. Look, he should have just walked, but he's heated. But throwing stuff at athletes, come on. Jason, this reminds me, I have not seen this many Puerto Ricans mad at one black guy since Bernard Hopkins. The classic story. They're promoting his fight with Trinidad, Felix Trinidad. And I remember I was very close to Bernard, and Bernard told me a week before that press tour, he said, Kim, if he waves that Puerto Rican flag in my face like he does everyone else, there's going to be an issue. I said, oh, okay, Bernard. So they go to Philadelphia, they go to Miami, then they go to Roberto Clemente Stadium on the island. And there's like 10,000 people there. And Trinidad waves that flag right in his face, and I got to give Hopkins credit. He grabs the flag and he just throws it down, and literally he got chased by 1,000 people. They had the escorts there. Police had to guard the dugout area, and he nearly got killed. And I had one of my great classic lines, and the De La Hoya fans have never forgiven me for it. I said, I got to give Bernard Hopkins credit. It only took one Puerto Rican in Trinidad to make him run. With Bernard Hopkins, it took 10,000. And then the night of September 29th, Hopkins did the damn thing against Trinidad. There was no wepa. There was no wepa at the Madison Square Garden. Memorable night in my boxing journey, Jason. Good line, huh?
Love it when you bring boxing into it and do the analogy. I want to go back here. If you're assessing, if there's a pie of blame, now we got a full pie. 70, 80% of it goes to Boogie Cousins. 20% goes to the Puerto Rican fans. 90% goes to Boogie. 10% fans. Cut that pie up for me, Steve.
Okay, now that you're asking me to be Marie Callender's, I will admit, I think it's about 75-25, the blame to Boogie. That's fair.
I'm going to go 95.
Yeah,
I'm going to go
figured you would.
97.3%. Hey, man, when you grab your private part and walk up in some dude's face courtside and shake your private part at him, I don't know what more disrespectful can you do to a man or a fan. If the fan is just sitting there like doing this, it justifies walking. And not only do you grab your crotch, then you use that same hand. Go replay the clip. I think it's the same hand he grabbed his crotch with that he slaps. Yeah, it's the same.
Yeah.
You grab your crotch and then slap the man in the face with that same hand?
Well, okay, I'll admit that is unsanitary, and certainly unnecessary.
You're sweaty. You're sweaty in a basketball game. Grab your private part and then put your hands in another man's face.
All right, hold on. I got to give you credit. I can admit when I'm wrong. All right, 85-15. 85-15. But Jason, do we not do this anymore, or is it no longer 2020? Isn't DeMarcus Cousins more than an athlete? Okay, are we done with that? We're not saying that
He's an
anymore.
idiot.
More than an athlete?
He's,
All right, 90-10. 90-10, you got me, okay? You convinced me, 90-10. Jeez, that was kind of bad.
Yeah, I'm all the way up now to 99.9 to 0.1. if not 100%, this is all on Boogie Cousins. And I don't know if you could do anything more worthy of a fight. You're sweaty in a basketball game. You grab your pecker, wave it at someone, and then use that same hand to slap a man in the face. There's very few things
need to do. This is what he needs to do. Next time you're warming up and you come out and you get introduced, come out in a Bernard Hopkins t-shirt and just flash the X. Oh, that'll get the people heated. And no one will be touched by a hand that touched your junk. There. Solution. And then let's play ball. Play ball. That's it.
Bad luck for Boogie Cousins. Bad luck for American basketball players. Bad luck for self-control. Completely disrespectful. Now, I'm going to move on. Final topic. Kevin Durant.
Now what?
Zeroing in at the end of his career, and there are rumors that Kevin Durant will end up with the San Antonio Spurs. Wemby. Let's play the Bill Simmons clip where he talks about KD to the Spurs.
I wouldn't be surprised if KD to the Spurs is done already and they just haven't announced it. Like it's basically they've agreed on specifics and they'll just announce it the week of the draft. Don't aggregate that. I have no inside info. It just feels goes back to the honest thing. I think they're just going to trade for KD and it'll cost a lot less. They'll be able to be really competitive and maybe even go a couple rounds in the playoffs, but they're also going to keep the number 2 pick and do it that way.
Kevin Durant in a San Antonio Spurs uniform. Is this Hakeem Olajuwon in Toronto? Didn't Hakeem end up in Toronto?
Yeah, Ewing in
Patrick Ewing that
Seattle.
ended up in Toronto. Yeah,
Shaq O'Neal in like
or
5
this-
different other uniforms at the last 5 years of his career. By the way, is his goal to catch Jimmy Jackson, your guy, in the number of teams played for? And no offense to Jimmy. Jimmy, you were really good. People wanted you. I get it. But Jason, I mean, I think in 3 years we're going to be announcing he's with the Washington Generals. I mean, what? I don't know if he cares about his legacy, but let's backtrack a little bit. Jason, 5 years ago, he had people thinking Steph Curry was nothing more than a support player and that he's the heir apparent to LeBron. He's the all-time great. He's the current best player. And since he has left Golden State, it's just kind of been this, I don't want to say sad descent, but I don't think it's really helped his legacy all that much. I have a question. If this comes to fruition, I think there's a lot of intrigue in this move, given the frame of Wemby and him. Is he now fully at the stage, you think, where he's willing to be the second best player on most nights and play in support of a younger superstar?
Oh, he's definitely there. If he's anywhere near going to San Antonio. He's definitely taken. Look, I mean, when you go to Golden State, and I don't care if maybe you were physically better than Steph Curry, but you're number 2 to Steph Curry when you go to Golden State. And so he's already crossed that bridge previously. I want to be clear here. I like Kevin Durant. I wish he had made different decisions, though, clearly. I wish he had made different decisions because I think he could. Getting out of OKC made sense. He and Russell Westbrook didn't work. Russell Westbrook wanted to be the man and would take stupid shots, and KD did the best that he could. Going to Golden State was a mistake, and being the number 2 to Steph or number 2.5 to Steph, he and Clay, and I know that, again, I don't think they would have won the championships without KD, but he should have made a different decision. He got swept up in what LeBron James did, and this, to me, isn't an indictment on the LeBron James legacy, and it's why, again, I consider LeBron the 3rd or 4th most influential player in the NBA. I consider Jordan 1, Magic and Larry in combo 2, and LeBron had a negative influence on the NBA, and it's a massive one, and KD got swept up in that in terms of team hopping and championship chasing.
Yeah, you're right. And Jason, going back to his Golden State run, wasn't he the MVP of the finals at least once? I clearly remember, because I actually was watching a lot of those games. Steph, for a period of time, was not a dominant NBA Finals player for whatever reason. I mean, it was okay, but I distinctly remember in those series against Cleveland, the one guy that they had no answer for at all was KD.
Yeah, Finals most valuable player in 2017 and 18.
Yeah.
He was twice. 2 of those championships, he was the Finals most valuable player. But it doesn't mean all that much now because that's Steph Curry's franchise, and what he was there 3 years. Do you hang Kevin Durant's jersey from the rafters when he was in Golden State for just 3 seasons? Do you put a statue out there? And this is a homeless man.
Wow.
This is a homeless superstar. Where do you, you could hang it in OKC, clearly, but Brooklyn.
Are you sure, Jason? Are you sure the people of OKC? He
was there 7-8 years.
Oh, I'm with you.
He was
but
there
the way
7-8 years, led him to a final.
The way he left, are you sure the people of OKC want to see a jersey of 35 or some statue of the Slim Reaper? I seriously doubt it. No, I can't see that.
He was MVP of the league in OKC. They played in NBA Finals in OKC. He was runner-up for MVP 3 times in OKC. Yeah, they're going to now. Is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander the greatest player in OKC history?
No.
More than likely, that's going to be
the
legacy.
Though.
No?
All right, maybe. I don't know. That's a tough one. The way he left, Jason, left a lot of bitter feelings. Sometimes the marriage might be great, but a lot of people remember the divorce. Keep that in mind.
I wonder, like when it's over for KD, where does he, I guess he, as an old retired player, does he show up courtside at OKC games? Does he show up in Golden State? Does he show up in Brooklyn? Does he show up in Phoenix?
Brooklyn.
Does he show up in San Antonio?
Well, hold on.
Yeah.
Jason, it's not Phoenix or Brooklyn. I will assure you that. It will not be those 2 places. He is not a beloved figure there. I think those 2 destinations are really symbolic of the fall of Kevin Durant the last 5-6 years.
I do want to add this. Luke, one of our producers, is from Oklahoma and is a big OKC fan. The people of OKC hate Kevin Durant.
See, told you.
That will pass. That will pass is my argument. They do, but that will pass. I don't think that will last. That will pass.
Luke,
particularly
tell
if they
your
win a
people of
championship this
OKC,
year.
stay strong. Don't capitulate to Whitlock. Stay hating. If you have a passion, stick with it, okay? Luke, let them know. Stay hating. It's okay. There. Whitlock trying to make people
Steve,
soft.
on that
This is
note,
sad.
I'm going to let you go. On that
Please
note,
do.
I'm going to let you go. You blew the Boogie Cousins discussion. Now you're blowing the KD discussion. We're done here. We'll play tomorrow, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Waiting for the countdown, coming off the breakdown, standing in line for freedom. Looking for a breakout, feeling like a standoff, nothing in life like freedom. Came in like a fighter, striking like a ladder, making all these moves for freedom. I want freedom. No negotiation, my sister, no relation. We all just wanna have freedom. Sitting on a corner, never been alone. I'm breaking my back for freedom. Blessed, we are living, get back. We are receiving, all deceiving. We all wanna be free. We want freedom. I wanna be. I just